Oh, how to begin. This whole YouTube endeavor is meant to be a way to force me into getting myself back on track. And in a way, it has, but at the same time, I feel there's a smidge of dishonesty in the way that I've presented the videos, kind of. The last 8 or 9 weeks of me uploading videos, it's been a little bit longer because I've missed a few weeks here and there, has actually been more like months. So I'm going to explain where I am, where I've been, what I've been doing, why it's taken so long. And as I do, I'm going to start a different little project. I know I have a couple of projects on the go, but I'm still waiting on some steel and some sandpaper and sanding belts and what have you. So I might as well just throw this in there. The very first bit of footage that I filmed was filmed on the 23rd of January. And in my first video, I said that I'd be starting a new routine to get my life in order, and I'd be using YouTube as a means of holding myself accountable for keeping to said routine. I started off extremely excited to get it all underway. I fixed my weights rack so that I could safely use my weights again. I built my forge so that I could learn how to blacksmith. And then I built my anvil to accompany the forge. And then I started the forging process, in which I jumped into a Damascus steel project. Which sounds pretty cool, right? Sounds like I had everything worked out. Well, here's the issue. I did all of those projects in the space of about 2 weeks. And to cap it off, I filmed almost all of it. And that meant I ended up with hours and hours and hours of footage. And it would turn out that this would be my immediate downfall. I had accrued somewhere in the vicinity of 12 to 16 hours of footage. And the idea of having to sit down and edit all of that was too much for my brain to comprehend. And the issue was that I knew that throughout all the filming I'd been talking, so I couldn't just go through and chop out entire clips or anything like that for risk of missing something important that I wanted to say. As it would turn out, I was able to delete most of it. Immediately upon finishing the forge, I did another couple of small projects before editing any of the footage. So this meant that straight away, after 4 solid weeks of getting off my butt and doing something constructive with my time, I fell straight back into my old habits. Because I had so much footage there, I didn't want to sit down knowing that I had to edit so much footage. And because I didn't want to sit down and edit all that footage, it meant that I didn't want to work on any more projects because I wanted to film my progress, which would have meant accumulating more footage. I wanted my videos to be honest and truly indicative of my movements and my thoughts in life. So between March 24th and September 25th, I made 0 progress. No new projects, no editing, nothing. I fell straight back into the habit of sitting on my butt, thinking about how hard everything is. So it was September 25th that I finally got everything in order. Got my videos edited and started uploading. I've learned from my mistakes, and I decided that from that point on, I would only be recording the moment I knew needed recording. No more, no less. And then I decided that I would be editing the footage from that day before I started filming again. Instead of filming an entire week's worth, interesting, and then editing the whole lot in one fell swoop on the weekend. Now, I know that nobody really wants to hear poor old Anthony complaining about how tired he is or how demotivated he is. But for me, that's kind of the point of this channel. And I think that it's important to document these moments. I don't say these things looking for sympathy or reaching out for attention. I'm using this whole endeavor of YouTube videos as a means of documenting my life, mostly for my own benefit. It's so that I can compare where I was then when I first started filming, see where I am now as I'm filming, and then down the track I'll be able to see where I end up and what changes I've made in my life. I'll reiterate my first video. I have a new routine: go to work, come home, film, edit on a daily basis, and publish a video once a week. I still need to work on my fitness. I haven't had much luck there, but I am, from this point on, full honesty, going to put my life back on track. Outside of messing up my routine pretty badly, my original plan was working. For those initial 3-4 weeks, I was still working longish weeks, 6-7 days in a row, which for me is extremely exhausting. However, my goodness was I feeling good. Since starting the projects and learning to blacksmith and attempting to make Damascus steel, even though I have no freaking idea what I'm doing, I'm having an absolute blast doing it. From the very moment I started making things, I've felt better, happier. I now have a goal. I now have something to do with my time. No longer was I sitting around. No longer was I just watching TV, eating bad food. I stopped feeling lost. When I'm out in the workshop making something, physically using my hands to make something out of nothing, I feel relaxed. Even if I'm a bit perplexed as how to do something, this was one of those instances. Even when I'm dripping sweat, my eyes are burning. Even when I'm getting blisters on my hand, even when I'm cutting myself and bleeding, I find myself in a better mental condition by the end of it all. It's hot. I think I have finally found catharsis. Catharsis via creation. Having something to do, something that occupies my mind, actually gives my brain time to rest. Yeah, I'm still using my brain, but it's a different mental exercise than that of everyday thoughts. Using my brain to make something or to focus on something else sometimes helps with the other things that I struggle with. Taking a step away from a current issue. Thinking about something else may give you a different perspective and a different way of solving an issue. I'm going to get a little bit preachy here, so I apologize in advance. If you are anything like me, where you struggle to shut your mind off when just the most trivial of things play on your mind and they make you stressed or anxious, then I urge you strongly to find yourself a hobby. If you have the thoughts that just don't stop, they're not always bad thoughts, they're just constant over-analyzing and thinking about work or house repairs or things that need to be done. I think in the medical world, what I have is called stupid brain. And I urge you strongly, find yourself a hobby. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's making things, woodwork, metalwork, arts and crafts, working on cars, baking, cooking, photography, writing, computer building. It doesn't matter what it is. If there's something you enjoy doing, set aside some time in your day and just try to do it. Even if it's just for a few minutes, you'll be surprised by the difference that it makes in the way that you view the world. I know that I have. It'll help, I promise. Now, with all that in mind, I look forward to the future for myself. I have a load of practicing to do in the forge. I have plenty of little projects that I want to get done. I also have a few more projects kicking around in my mind that I'm super excited to start, but I must not get ahead of myself again. I've done that once and it wrecked me. I will not let that happen again. One baby step at a time. All right, that's enough rambling for now. I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you what it's for. Whoa. What is this thing for? Hopefully, might have been a bunch of work for nothing. Hopefully, if I do get into knife making, which is something I'm interested in, it's going to help me grind good bevels on the knife edge. Using this bolt, it's a bit stubborn because of these springs, I can adjust the angle this thing sits on by twisting this bolt. Then these two bolts are simply here to hold my whatever I'm using as a knife in place. So the thickness of the steel will dictate how deep you screw these in so that the spine of the knife rests on the bolt. Then I would clamp it on here and then run this against the grinder and it will hopefully give a bevel. This is just a piece of mild steel. I'm gonna give it a whirl. So that gives you a rough idea of how the thing's meant to work. It's going to take some practice to get it right. As you can see, I mean, that's the first time I've ever used it. So I get real thin points, gets thinner here, thicker here, uneven, whatever. Gives you a good plunge line. In theory, the thing works. It has some fundamental issues, which would mean that, you know, it has to have a straight spine at the back, otherwise it won't work. Getting the exact angle of the bevels is going to be interesting because I can't set the grinder perfectly 90 degrees just because of whatever. So if I set this to a certain degree, it's actually not going to be that because it's offset by the angle of the grinder. So there's issues, but I'll be able to work around them hopefully. So I guess that's it. Thanks for listening to me prattle on for a little while. I think that'll do for now.